it's an honor to be able to introduce Tim to everyone. And I know we've got a number of people who already listen to On the Shelf podcast, but Tim is the authority in getting into big box stores. So if we can go all the way back to February when we first started talking about taking a step out of the swimming pool next to the ocean, that swimming pool being Amazon and the ocean being all of retail. Now you're starting to, dive in and really swim and have freedom and hit the ultimate goal. Tim's the person who can introduce that to you and talk to you about how to get there, what buyers are expecting, what you can expect to getting into big box stores. And I can, say that I'm honored that he is my coach. He's mentored myself and my partner. He's a friend, and he's just a real, he's one of the people who really want to see you succeed. So with that, Tim, I will let you take it away, and let's start talking.
Okay. Well, I think that's a good introduction. When you said that I want everybody to succeed, I think that really is true. That's the reason I started the On the Shelf podcast, was to give people an opportunity to kind of do it themselves if they want to. And so when I see, what really lights me up is when somebody sends me a text on Facebook Messenger, whatever this is, man, I tried that line in that email and I got a response from the buyer. I'm like, man, just one of those is just enough to really get me excited. So what are the basic product requirements to be successful in big box retail? This is a huge list, people. So we're not going to get to everything today. So I just jotted down a couple of the ones that came to mind quickly for me. And if you listen to the podcast, this is going to be kind of old news to you, but you don't always get a chance to ask questions. So this is your opportunity to throw questions my way when we talk about it. First of all, product vetting. And, if you don't have a product on Amazon already, or you're not selling it on your website, or you haven't sold it to anybody yet, big box retail is not the place for you yet. Okay. You need to sell some of your product to somebody other than your family. Okay. Not your family is good, but they're not going to, that's not a vetting tool. And when I say some product, I'm talking like 200 units, not a huge amount, but 200 units is enough for you to be able to say, people have used my product and they didn't type back to me and tell me that it was total crap or that there was an issue with it. And believe me, the last place you want to be is on the shelf at Target when you find that there's some small issue with your product. Okay. So yeah, you got to get out there and sell it, whether it's on your website, whether you're selling it, to small independent specialty retailers. You got to get out there and sell a couple hundred units, and people have to use it, whatever it is, or eat it if it's food, for you to feel comfortable taking that to a big box retailer, or really any major retailer over 50 stores, and feel comfortable that you're okay. And this is not. When I say vetting, it's not necessarily to find out whether your product's a good idea or not. I think probably it's a good idea. It's really more to find out if there's some major issues. So I'll give you an example. I had a client that made a pretty cool product. It was for razors, disposable razors. And it was this cool grip that you put on there. And it not only was it easier to hold, but they were different colors. So if you share a shower with multiple people, you're not shaving with somebody else's razor all the time because you had like 15 blue ones and now there's 3 blue ones and you're like, which one is mine? And so you're not sharing skin cells and all that nasty stuff. The problem with the product was, after she ordered, wait for it, 60,000 units, the problem with the product was that people couldn't really get it from the packaging. What she really needed to do was package a disposable razor with it, for that light bulb to go off. And then when we finally tried to just dump them off to TJ Maxx or somebody like that, even they wouldn't take it because they don't sell razors. And so they didn't have a place. They gave it a common frame of reference. And so, that was a big ouch, so 5,000 units, finding that out, and then making your next 5,000 units with a razor, good. 60,000 units before you know what's what, bad. Okay, just so you guys got that. I'm going to say this, and it's going to seem pretty basic, but you would not believe the amount of people that I work with that don't have a UPC label, because it's not required on Amazon. You can use Amazon stickers, and so if all you're selling on Amazon is and you're just using their UPC, then yeah, you got to get a GS1. You got to get a UPC label, and so I recommend that you definitely do that. And when you geez, sorry guys, I got to turn off all my external notifications. And when you do that, buy a couple. Okay, that way when you expand your product, you're already going to have a sequential number. It's not mandatory, but buy a couple. And I just had a client that we're trying to sell get their products into Amazon fulfillment, and they didn't have a UPC, so we just went through that whole process with them. Understand your pricing. Okay, now we could go through pricing, and it's a huge topic. It's the number one thing I talk to all my clients about before we do anything is we talk about pricing, because if your pricing doesn't work, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board, because if your pricing doesn't work, there's no reason to take any other step toward anything until you can make sure that you're actually going to make money. I don't anymore, but there was a period of time where I used to get maybe 1 or 2 calls a week from people selling successfully in Costco and losing money. And so they would come to me, Tim, what do I do? What do I do? Well, at that point, there's only a couple things that you can do. I mean, you can maybe make some efficiencies in your production line, not altering the product in any way, or you can raise your price. And guess what? Costco doesn't like it when you come back to them and say, hey, I need to raise my price because I underquoted you. So my suggestion is always price your product across all channels first. I don't care if you're just selling on your website or just selling on Amazon, but you need pricing for club store, big box, specialty, e-commerce, Amazon, grocery, drugstore. You have to get all those things and then make sure your pricing works across all those channels before you start to sell it on Amazon. Because remember, once you're on Amazon, that is your established price. You can go down from it on sale here, or maybe a 2-pack there. But whatever that price is, retailers are going to go look there, and that's going to be your price. So if your price is $10 and it really needs to be $15, guess what, guys? It's now $10. So please, price your product across all channels. I think that's where Steven and I first met. Is he bought my pricing strategy off of my website, and that was probably our first interaction. But it's important, and most people don't do that. Most people just price the one thing that they're doing. So don't be like most people.
Yeah, I'll tell you, everyone in our group have heard it probably 100 times already. To just start off, that the price that they can sell at should be at least 7, and we're talking 10 times more than their raw cost. The pricing strategy is the next level, and we haven't even got into pricing strategy by channel and so on. But just in general, to move away from the standard Amazon very low margin business model into going at least 7x, and that's a big change.
Well, 7x is a big number, and I'm going to tell you right now, you're not going to be able to achieve 7x on everything. Sometimes you're going to be able to achieve quantity in replace of some margin, but that's okay as long as you're not in jeopardy. And if anybody has questions on that, we can talk about that a little later. Retail packaging, or at least digital versions. Okay, so if you're selling on Amazon, maybe you don't have like killer digital or killer packaging. That's okay, but you're gonna have to have something to show the buyer when you go in there. And so digital renderings are okay. If you have some a company that put together some possibilities for you, I prefer that. Don't go out and make packaging and then go talk to the target buyer, because I guarantee you, and I'm not picking on Target here, but Sears, whoever, I guarantee you they're going to want to tweak something about your packaging to get it into their building. So if you were to, make some packaging and then make 5,000 units, you're going to be selling those 5,000 units on Amazon in that nice packaging, probably, because every retailer will have a little bit of a tweak that they want to make that product fit into what their mindset is. It's not. I think there's a big fallacy out there that you're going to take this product and you're going to hand it to a retailer and they're just going to be like, yes, let's just take it just as it is, exactly how you have it. Now, can that happen? Yeah, but it's just not typical. So I think that, yeah, it's not typical. So I recommend before, while you're getting in front of the buyers and you're starting that conversation, it's okay to have digital renderings that, hey, this is what I'm thinking, and have a couple of different options. Maybe one's can be pegged, one's on the shelf, one can do both. Flexibility is cool. So keep that in mind. Logistics and bandwidth. There's really two things that will get you kicked out of a retailer. One is poor quality product. So your product's getting returned all the time and the quality's not where it's supposed to be. Number two is inability to deliver. Those are the two biggest things. And it would shock you to realize how many people can't deliver the product that they said they could deliver. It would shock you. Literally, you think you get it all done and you get in front of the buyer and they finally say yes, and you go through all the onboarding process and you get the PO, and then you should be able to deliver it on time. But you would be shocked at how many people can't do that. And sometimes it's not their fault. I have a product for a client of mine for our first order with Office Depot, boom, stuck in an intensive customs audit. And so, yeah, that's a little bit of a concern right now. So, those things, you don't know. There's nothing. I mean, it's not lettuce. I mean, so there's no really reason why customs would say, hey, let's pick that container and just tear it apart. But it can happen. And those are some things that are out of your control. But so build a key thing on your first order with a big retailer, build some cushion. Even if you have to pay drayage here in the US, you have to store it somewhere for a couple of weeks. Better to store it somewhere for a couple of weeks than be late. All right. Insurance. A lot of people on Amazon or on their own website don't have product liability insurance. Get your product liability insurance, okay? Do not put yourself in jeopardy, yourself, your business. It's not that much, $2,500 a year, maybe if it's not a children's product. But get your liability insurance. Even if you're just selling on Amazon, just get something small. But I see Amy's over there clapping. Yes.
Oh,
yeah, obviously you guys
you are singing Amy's song right now.
Yeah. I mean, you wouldn't drive your car without insurance just on the offhanded chance, but people are litigious and you don't want to lose your whole business, because you ruined somebody's rug or whatever. So, please go out and do that. There's plenty, even if you're outside the US, a lot of times product liability companies in your own country cover you in the US. So don't think that you can't get it. All right. We're going to wrap this up with the last two. I know I'm already spending half my time on this one topic, but it was big. Understand your customer. And this is only going to come from selling some product. And sometimes your customer is not who you think they are. I had a client that made like toiletry bags, and she was a traveling businesswoman. And so she made a high-end traveling toiletry bag for traveling business women. And do you know who actually bought it? It wasn't those women. It was actually older women, 65 years or older, affluent, that like to travel, but they were retired. And those ended up being her key customers. So when you're thinking about going into retail, it's important to know who your customer is, because that's going to drive your retail list, I call it a retail hit list. Who are you going after? You don't take an affluent toiletry bag for 65 plus women who, carry Gucci. I mean, that's maybe not even that expensive, but expensive stuff, and sell it to Target, because they're going to look at you and say, who's your customer? Well, really wealthy older women. Well, yeah, you probably want to go sell that at Nordstrom's or whatever. So know your customer, who they are, and who's buying your product. That's key, because it's not always the people that you think that are buying it. It's not always them. And last thing, and probably the most important, it was just by luck I put it last. Know your uniques. Understand what's unique about your product, even if it's the tiniest little thing. There's got to be something unique about their product. If there's not, if it's just another widget and it's exactly like all the other widgets that are on the shelf, guess what? They're not going to abandon those widgets for your widgets. Your widget has to be something different. And it doesn't have to blow people's minds. but you put some thought into it. You had an idea. You just need to figure out how to pitch that part of it to the buyer so that they understand why you did it. Why did you make this widget and change it in this particular way? Am I making sense?
Absolutely.
Okay. I think unique, especially at ECRM, and I think I probably pounded this into Steven and his partner, but you only have 10 or 20 minutes at ECRM. So it's all about the uniques. And a lot of time at ECRM, people will try to sell their product. I'm like, don't do that. You don't have enough time to actually sell it from start to finish. Give them the things that are different about it. All right. I know you're not understanding because you don't know what ECRM. We're going to get into that later. All right. How do you know? This is another topic, by the way. Woo, we're done with the basic product requirements. Like I said, we could make a whole deal out of that. How do you know when you're ready to make the leap? I don't know. How do you know when you're ready to have kids? How do you know when you're ready to do anything? You know, you're an entrepreneur. And so everything is a little bit of a risk. And so you're never going to feel fully ready. But I can tell you, if you nail down the things I just talked about, you're ready. Okay. So if you're selling, you have your UPCs, you got your pricing, your packaging, your logistics, your insurance, you understand your customer, and you have nailed down your uniques, boom, it's time.